Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman issue 5, Liam Sharp writing and art. So I'm not reading this, you two are, so take it away.
Yeah, so we start to get it's issue 5 out of 6, so the story is starting to come to a head.
But we're starting to get some answers.
Yeah, and one of the main answers that we get is that this was an inside job. Everything that we've seen thus far is done by, I'm slipping on the name, King Eleda. So I kept wondering how the ties to Gotham with the old man, like finding like the weird silver and the gold and whatnot. You find out that the Fomorians and the Dedanin figured out that through these metal trinkets, they could send them through to...
And that became the story of leprechauns as well. Like, the idea of these little bits of gold that could be sent through.
Right, and that if little bits of gold can be, then why, if gold or silver is attached to somebody, why couldn't they make the jump through? And this would, if they could knock down the veil between the worlds, then they wouldn't be stuck in this constant cycle of war and then forget and then war and forget and all of this.
They could be free.
Yeah, and so it ends up tying into whatever was going on in Gotham was created by Eleta, so he could in that veil. And
he got out essentially.
So essentially, he faked his own death by switching bodies with somebody in Gotham. And that Wonder Woman's kind of she's smoothed over the Fomorians of the Denan talking to King Makol and Cernunnos, however you pronounce it.
Cernunnos.
I always remember, and then in the month that happened.
Yeah, I think it's Cernunnos.
All right, so Batman goes and talks to the kid that the Fomorians had all tried to blame for the death of Aletha, and he basically says, like, I did it, I finally done it, and those aren't the words of a dying man.
Yeah, and he says, what was it, to do with the Lord. What was his last words?
He's to thank the Lord. And
thank the Lord.
That makes no sense because they don't believe in the Christian God. They believe in Danu.
Danu and the Morrigan, yeah.
Yeah, and the Morrigan. So it doesn't add up. So they figure out that Aletha has done all this to help his people get out of this slump. Even though Cernunnos is the ferryman between the worlds, he can't take them, and this would subvert that. But it also opens up the gate to the all-seeing Balor.
And that's how we end the issue with the veil opening, the worlds becoming one, the sea parting, and him marching through with his army.
Yep, and we have Fane Makol, going to face him as they've done.
Yeah, Batman's going back to Earth to try and get some answers on that end and sort it out with Aleta. And Wonder Woman stayed with Finn to face the army, and it's a pretty exciting ending.
Yeah, because how we saw that Aletha had done this was he had taken the silver arm, and in order to open up the portal, he essentially cut off his arm, stuck the silver arm on his, and broke that veil.
Yeah.
That was a pretty metal moment, I thought.
Yeah, and it was the idea of harming himself as a king is so sinful that no one had ever considered doing it before, which is why this was never had happened before this.
Right, and so will this upset the delicate balance of Celtic mythology and whatnot? Yeah. I'm just excited that we got to see full on Balor, and it looks like we're gonna get the Finn McCall stuff.
It does, and it's really playing with the mythology. It's all from Aletha's narration this time,
right?
And talking about how he did it, and was it selfish? Maybe. Should he have considered the consequences? Maybe, but even if he had, he probably would have done the same thing anyway because he was getting desperate.
Yeah. And he's not doing it for his own reasons. He's doing it for that of his people.
He does believe he's doing the right thing ultimately.
Yeah, but that's ultimately the lie. Is that anything that you put up that I'm doing for others is really for yourself. That's how you explain it. And so Sharp, it's great. Like the story, his art's even better.
There are some phenomenal panels in this. There's one with Batman and Wonder Woman stood on the edge of the wall, and they've got their capes billowing, and you got all the fur around the necks that they've been having in this book. And oh my god, it's gorgeous.
Even Aletha in Gotham,
The way he
he's
towers
like,
over everyone.
yeah, everybody. So it gives them this larger than life feel, and what this means for
People
going
are like
forward.
up to his waist for
Mhm.
reference. He
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah, and just even Carnunos and Fionn McCool, like it looks all
Honestly,
great.
the opening panel. There's been a lot of the Celtic knots throughout all
Yep.
the as a border pieces. But the
Mhm.
opening panel, it's just Wonder Woman surrounded by some of these patterns, and it's just gorgeous.
Yep.
Like every month I open this book, I look at it and go, "That's why I love this book." I don't even have
Yep.
to read anything yet. I just see that and go, "Yeah, this is why I read it."
Yep. And oh man, she looks great on that cover too. Just she has this look of worry because the Fomorians and the Danan are going to start fighting again, and she's like, can't we just have peace just for a moment? Is her tone. But yeah, oh man, this book's so good.
Really is.
Rate it.
Yeah, so what would you? Yeah, go ahead.
I give it 8.5, but a really strong 8.5.
Yeah, I agree with that. Really strong 8.5.